Most times, political correctness and legal justification for actions do not go together. Eligible voters and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, have been at loggerheads over extension of the ongoing continuous voter registration due to end on the 30th of June. The Federal High Court, sitting in Abuja, has issued an interim order restraining INEC from going ahead with its plans to end the ongoing exercise at the end of the month. Applicants are urged the court to extend the voter registration period to avert disenfranchisement of many yet to be registered Nigerians willing to vote in various elections. The level of awareness, Dotun, is now very high. But to be fair to the Independent National Electoral Commission, they started out on time after the 2019 election, telling Nigerians, please, once you are 18, go and pick your PVC. But you know, we like this fire brigade approach. I remember, if you go to the portal of INEC, I remember the time they started. And at any of these off-season elections, there's always a time frame because of they have their timetable backed by the electoral law. So that from this time to this time, you'll be able to pick up your PVC, the deadline to pick up your PVC to election time. So trust our people. The awareness is now very high, and there's a kind of crusade going on online that get your PVC.
I think there are so many issues woven in here on this PVC. Like you have said, we have laws guiding the process. But if you ask me, I don't see so much sense in that law. Restricting when people can have access to register to vote.
And maybe planning
in their own country.
purpose.
Leave planning out, sir.
Yeah.
If a child turns 18 today, and election is tomorrow, he should be able to vote
We don't
tomorrow.
have updated database.
Exactly. That is why I said there are so many issues involved. Why can't we access the technology worldwide, despite our belief that we are backward technologically? Nigerians are doing well in the IT sector. Worldwide. Phenomenal.
I'm telling you.
We rank very high. So what are we saying that we lack as a country rather than
We
planning?
don't have
Being futuristic.
synchronized,
Exactly.
we have driver's license, we have
It is the same you do
BVN,
with
we have
driver's
NIM, we have LASRA, we have national
Everything
ID
is
card,
there.
but we can't synchronize it.
Thank God that this time around, they are not even asking those of us who have the PVC to come and register. You remember there was a time, it was
Yes,
every
that you have
election
to do.
cycle.
Yes.
You have to go back
Yes.
to register.
Yes, there's
Thank
what
God.
they call temporary
Even
voter card.
beyond the temporary. Even when
You
you
convert it
still
to go and
must
get the
come back
permanent.
to come and register. There was a time in this country, if you wanted your driver's license, your data, you must go back to input it every time it expires. These things shouldn't be so. Now the driver's license is better. You can sit in the comfort of your home, send those details, and then when it is ready, they call you to pick it up. That is what we are talking about. In other countries, you don't wait.
I was quite impressed when I went to the road safety.
The Federal Road Safety
yes,
Commission
to do the
it's
capturing detail.
far better.
Very,
Now you see it.
yes,
So once
organized.
it expires, you don't need
Biometrics,
to go back for your biometrics. It's there in the system.
everything.
And that is the kind of thing that we should have. That you give birth to a child, once that child follows the process, one, it goes to the National Population Commission to obtain the birth certificate, to do the register. Then that child should be in our system to the point where he or she can get a driver's license, get registered to vote, and other things. We are so backward. The second issue is, even with the court pronouncement now, try and follow those areas where we have had this huge crowd showing up. Go to TBS, for instance. It has thinned out since. And why did it thin out? We still have time. Again, because the court has said so. And INEC has accepted to extend the period. So we have time. Let us sit back. When
Look
the
at
crowd
the
thins out,
NIM something.
it was the same thing.
Until today, I asked somebody that wanted to go and she needed to travel out, and she doesn't have international passport, and sent her to the immigration office. And the first thing they asked her was
Where is your NIN?
NIN. And she said she doesn't have.
Simple.
Where have you been?
And you see that most of those who are struggling now to register, they are people who have been locked out of their shops because the market leaders are demanding for PVC before allowing them in. The churches have said June 26 will be Operation Show Your PVC. I'm sure you watched that Catholic father
In one hospital.
who said, no, apart from the doctor in the hospital, is a good one. The Catholic father said, you will not enter this church for service today if you don't show me your PVC. And those who didn't have, he told them, go back home. Go and register. Must we wait until such a period?
Paul, your take on this?
Nigerians have this laissez-faire attitude towards some of these things. I mean, it's just in the nature of Nigerians. But the question I even want to ask is, when INEC started this thing in 2019, how much of mobilization, how much of awareness campaign was done by INEC? You understand? You see, no, they did, but
You just like this last
I
minute
agree.
thing. That's the bottom
I
line.
agree. I know that we have this laissez-faire.
We should
give it to
You see,
INEC.
when you know,
We should give it to INEC this time around.
No, since
when
2019.
you know the people you are dealing with, how sustained
Look at
was
the
it?
number of times the NIM guys, the number of times
Yes,
that
I
it was
agree.
extended.
Now-
One of the things that pushed it to the front burner was the struggle in the PDP for the presidential candidate's ticket. Peter Obi's movement
Yes.
caused a lot.
I
And
agree.
look
I
at it.
agree.
Yeah.
Now that we have
It's-
this,
There's an obedience movement now.
Now that we have this awareness, people are going to the PVC centers registration centers. I think that, like he said, voter registration should be continuous. Someone who wasn't 18 last week, maybe 18 now. Okay. And there are, even between now and even after 2023, you are going to have a lot of off-season elections. And I think voter registration should be something that is continuous. We should learn to deploy technology. And this issue of people, a lot of people queuing, and sometimes it's very difficult for people to even get themselves registered. People are queuing and there are struggles. So we should be to eliminate all of this.
Okay, let me ask Jide. Jide, what do you think is responsible for this rude awakening in terms of collection of PVC?
Our people usually leave things to the last minute before they show interest. If it was a lot easier, I'm sure we won't be talking about this problem. There were days when people queued up as early as 5 a.m., yet they'll go back home unable to register. So the system has to be made much easier for our people. If it is not made much easier for our people, it will be difficult for them to vote. Sometimes I'm going to work early in the morning, passing through INEC and some of those streets in Ojodu, and I will see a huge crowd. It's unfair to simply blame our people, just blame our people for this situation. Many people cannot afford to not be at work for many hours. But that is the situation that the NIN thing imposed on our people, that even the voter registration exercise imposed on our people. Sometimes our people are subjected to extortion just to be able to register. If you ask people to tell you their stories, some of them were made to part with money just to be able to do the NIN. And you wonder why so many people just stayed away. It's because the system it's made so difficult for them. And then there are some who had been registered somewhere. And because where they are is currently unsafe, they now want to go and register elsewhere. You are wasting your time. Once you get to the point where you are to register, your name will be flagged. And once you've registered before, you are not going to be allowed
The information is
to
already on the
register a
database.
second time. Yes, look at
can't do
even this
multiple registration again.
election. This last election in Osun, in Ekiti, so many double registrations were discovered. When we are saying some people had not registered, some registered 2 times. So and if you want to relocate to somewhere, you need to transfer your registration. It's not to go and do a fresh registration. No. So there are all kinds of problems, but I believe that our people, they need to make the system a lot easier for our people. You just stroll into the place, register, and go to work. Instead of having our people start queuing up as early as 5 a.m. just to register, as long as it remains difficult like that, more and more people will not take up the opportunity unless they are forced.
Okay.
And you don't need to force our people.
BKO, we have to take this break.